Number 7 on the list, Portis by Jun Abe. Portis is just basically a story about this this video game named Portis, and if you play the video game, you die. Or, well, if you find some sort of weird glitch in the game, you'll just sort of kill yourself and die. And it's just sort of the story of this one girl, Asami, who's trying to investigate what led to her friend Chiharu to kill herself. And she finds the game and decides that the game is somehow tied to it, and she starts playing the game, and it sort of unravels itself as to how Portis was created, who created it, what it actually means and everything, and you get sort of a resolution to a lot of the stuff going on. A lot of creep factor in here with sort of the images that she keeps seeing in her day-to-day lives and the kind of odd stuff going on there. But to be fair, really, it feels a lot like The Ring. I mean, you have a evil video game, just replace movie with video game, and it's kind of the same premise. Except here, it's kind of like sort of the soul of the creator kind of got trapped in it, and also there's like some sort of cursed burial ground that was kind of desecrated, and that's kind of what led to the game itself becoming cursed. I still liked it on its own. I mean, if I hadn't seen The Ring or anything, or Fear.com, which that's an awful movie anyway, but if I hadn't seen some of those other stuff, I probably would have liked it a lot more on its own. And also, actually, to even get it bumped up the list even more, is translation was done by Kelly Sue DeConnick right here, who I've actually met a number of times at conventions, and she's kind of the only manga translator that I've even actually met and had a conversation with. And well, I'm not gonna lie, the fact that this is translated by her kind of bumps it up on the list for me just by itself. So yeah, but to be fair, it's a single volume, and you get through it. It's a full, complete story, and in that respect, it's a bit more enjoyable for that. Then let's see, moving along here, we have Gyo. Some of you may have seen my review of Gyo, but needless to say, Junji Ito here does a great job with creating a monster, sort of a monster horror series right here, where basically it's just Japan's being invaded by these bizarre little fish with insect legs on them, and the fish are actually dead and decaying, and it's some sort of bizarre contraption that feeds off of the decaying, rotting flesh of the fish or whatever it attaches to, and they just sort of crawl on land, including the most awesome thing, the land shark right here, where it crawls on land and starts eating people. And of course, the volume 2, the fish actually start decaying at a certain point, so the little leg things actually start clamping onto humans, and then it gets really disturbing, and they have to deal with dead humans running around on little insect leg things and killing them. But it's really great. The ending is kind of meh, but it's still really funny. You can get this real easy, I'm sure. I just get the as long as you're getting the first edition, which is what I got. You get the second edition with the all black, you're probably gonna have a harder time finding them. I don't know why. Moving along, King of Thorn, which this is kind of a survival horror manga, even though it's actually listed on the back as action. The main premise is just there's this virus that's spreading around that's called the Medusa virus, and basically at a certain point, after a person's been diagnosed with it, you start exhibiting symptoms where your body starts breaking down, and your body kind of crumbles into this sort of very brittle sort of material, and you just sort of crumble to pieces like you're turning to stone. And of course that's why it's called the Medusa virus. But basically there was no cure for it, so the only solution they could find for it was to just put people into a cryogenic sleep until such a point that they could actually find a cure for the virus at some later date. You know, that old shtick. Of course, the only problem with this is actually that when they do finally wake up from the cryogenic sleep, nobody's around. It turns out that the entire place has become dilapidated and just overcome with vines and thorny vines and just a ton of overgrowth. And actually, they find out that also various creatures and unholy monsters have also started taking over the place. And throughout the course of reading it, you find out more and more about the secret behind the creation of the Medusa virus. Some people are actually traitors and were actually put into the cryogenic sleep system for various reasons, other than just being infected. You have a lot of great action and suspense, just regular old horror movie survival kind of thing, kind of like Jurassic Park. That's kind of how I describe this. Is kind of like Jurassic Park. Now, to be fair, it's not all just dinosaurs and junk. I mean, there's also like crazy frog creatures at some point in here, I think. There's also a lot of there's a big creep factor at a lot of places in here, especially you find just dead bodies strewn around, and even this creepy dude who actually kind of goes a bit insane. And also, the whole time people are just dying off from the virus that they were supposed to get cured from. So there's also a ticking clock element in all of this. They're on an island, isolated from all other people, no communication, and on top of that, they all have a terminal illness that will kill them within 48 hours of the symptoms showing up on them. The only problem with the series is that after about halfway through, it gets weird and crazy. Just sort of what caused the Medusa virus and kind of what it really does besides turn you into stone and stuff. And once it gets to that point, it kind of loses the horror factor, what it really had. And it kind of has a weird kind of ending to it too. So that's kind of why it's not higher on the list, holding it back. But we'll get to the next part now, I guess.